Natural disasters linked to climate change are already happening across the globe, and we're starting to see the impacts of it locally with flash flooding and extreme temperatures.
It is hotter than ever, with those who are most vulnerable being the most affected.
My dream was to engage those in our communities to bring back what has been destroyed by others.
My name is Nauras and I am a Syrian refugee. Climate change had a big impact on our community. We could say it was identified as one of the causes that led to the civil war. Thousands of people were displaced by the effects of climate change. Due to the lack of rain and the lack of harvest, they had to move to other cities like Damascus or Aleppo. When they moved there, they find it difficult to work or they find it difficult to find a good life.
As a newcomer arriving in a new city and needing to learn everything from scratch is a great opportunity to establish positive behavior. Climate change project at the Welcoming help our community of refugees and migrants to learn action they can take to tackle climate change, while also improve the English skills, improve the employability prospect, and connect with the local community.
Memory is very important. I remember watching my grandparents and my parents growing their own food. When I think back to my life in Syria, I think of the whole family, from children to grandparents, all gathered in the sun, sharing their breakfast, having the traditional food.
Being realistic, the impact that a small-scale project like ours have will never be enough to tackle worthwhile climate change project. However, if policymakers can learn from the experience of small-scale projects to implement big-scale policies, we can achieve big changes.
I'm actually very proud of what we have done, because I remember the time we came here and the land was just grass and weeds, and we start build the raised bed and building the social area here. It's just an amazing feeling when you're looking at the allotment right now. Provide families, we've got a polytunnel, we built a polytunnel. We give seeds and plant to families and to help them. Yeah, again, I'm very proud of what we have done here. The Welcoming growing site in Edinburgh gives people a connection to their history. It brings me home.
I try to imagine if every family had a girl in education, how different our families would be, how different our communities would be. It has nothing to do with background. With family, it is about opportunity. One person got it, one person didn't. I grew up in a big Ugandan family of 9. I was quite fortunate as my dad was quite open. He didn't give priority to boys. In terms of women's inequality, when it comes to specific countries and communities, it affects them differently. But it is a problem that we all share globally. My name is Penny Mbabas Atweire. My work at New Energy Nexus helps local women and youth groups to distribute clean energy products. Everyone has that untapped potential, and I can see that through the New Energy Nexus business skills training. There is a huge potential for driving the spread of renewable energy and the benefits it brings to everyone.
New Energy Nexus Uganda, through its Inventure program, empowers community-based organizations to launch clean energy enterprises in the last mile, or off-grid Uganda, as we call it. What the program provides is a business toolkit that comprises of financing, capacity building, and technology. And through these key inputs, a community-based organization in a far-off village is able to launch a sustainable energy enterprise.
We embed ourselves in rural communities and work with women who are normally cut off from finance and support. We are able to work through hundreds of these existing community groups, enabling them to distribute renewable energy products and making money for their families. Women bear the primary responsibility of taking care of the household, making sure there is food and that their kids go to school. They get a double challenge of everything, including climate change. Women are the primary users of the clean energy technologies that we sell. Yet, they may not have the finances or resources to access them. Human equality and the protection of our planet are intertwined, and you cannot unentangle one without the other. When women get opportunities as men do, they can be agents of change. I have seen it in my life.
Heat in India is a given, but now with climate change, it is hotter than ever, with those who are most vulnerable being the most affected. Their quality of life is being impacted, health is being impacted, and their economic productivity is also being impacted. My name is Bijal Brahmbhatt, and I am the director of Mahila Housing Trust. An organization in India that empowers women to tackle heat stress. These women spend more time at home. They are the most at risk from this problem. Their houses are essentially dark, without any ventilation, no access to water and sanitation, and prone to waterlogging. Now, this is the life of a poor woman in slum. They use their house as their workplace, their go down, their storehouse, and so cooling is essential to enable them to earn a living. Through our work, 125,000 men and women in 27,000 households across India are trained in climate stress and climate resilient solutions. They have been adopting these new technologies, where we have seen significant results across thousands of homes, with temperatures reducing by 2 to 6 degrees. We work with women-led community action groups across 1,066 slum settlements in India to test sustainable cooling technologies and introduce cooling systems like cool roofs, and shading devices. This is the path forward. There is an intergenerational aspect too. Women are caregivers. If they will be empowered, so will their children be empowered. If we bring change, it will transcend beyond them.
My name's Anika Kelly, and when I was young, my dad used to call us citizens of the planet. I remember one time we were driving through Spain, and it was a year there was that huge oil spill. My dad went out of his way to show it to us. It was really quite tough seeing all of the oil and all the animals trapped, and it really had a big impact. As I got older, it really struck me that climate change has been born from our very exploitative relationship with other people in the environment. So if we're going to solve climate change, we have to stop the exploitation to be able to move forward. So I used to do quite a lot of direct action, just remembering all the foolish ones. Why did I do that? The best was when we occupied a gas power station to stop the dash for gas. We camped out on top of a chimney for a week. There's definitely a place for all of that, but I've really enjoyed working at Carbon COP because it's given me a way to create practical change. We've started a programme to train contractors in how to retrofit homes.
We've lived in the house for about 20 years and it's always been cold and drafty because it's a Victorian house. Difficult to heat, so it coincides now that we're starting to work with the wider picture of climate change and awareness of energy consumption and the need for everyone to be doing what's necessary to reduce consumption.
By 2050, we know that we have to upgrade all of the homes in the UK to make them far more energy efficient. A fifth of the UK's carbon emissions comes from the domestic residential sector, so that's our homes and where we live. What we really need is for all homes to be fitted with energy efficient tech, so that's insulation, air tightness measures, solar panels, heat pumps, things like that to reduce carbon. We know how to do this, we just need the workforce to make it happen. There are loads of great builders out there, it's just about showing we have the work to do in this area and it's worth getting involved. If we can match the householders, so that's the supply people who want, home improvements done, with the skilled builders to do the job, and with good finance in place, we can see the implementation of green tech happening at the scale that we need it.
My respect for the planet all started at home with my mother. She would remind us how those who lived before us left the plants and fruits that we ate. She showed us that the birds are important and the trees are important too. Next to our home, we had a forest where we would gather firewood. We would go there and there were lots of birds, monkeys, and other animals. We would take time to sing with the birds. They would respond. As children, that was a very beautiful feeling. Then, the forest was cut. Why did you cut our friends? It was the saddest moment. The villagers tried to oppose the cutting, but there was a rich man who had bought it and was much more powerful. So, this story has been played out many times in Uganda. We don't have enough food to eat. We don't have income. Women and the young people are the most affected. They don't have access to capital. Can we motivate them, train them to create a new lifestyle for themselves? My name is Noah Sempija. I founded YICE. We focus on encouraging people, mainly women, young people, and refugees to move away from destructive farming methods to more organic and sustainable practices. Through our training, people move towards food security and earning an income from small patches of land while protecting our soil and the birds and nature around us. We understand that sometimes farmers lack the knowledge and skills about climate change, and so they are not able to prepare for it, they are not able to do the right things. So we have taken it up to us that in all the trainings that we carry out, we try to make sure that we talk about climate change, how they can manage it, how they can control it. Because we have seen that our farmers have been affected by climate change, we have introduced a mobile drip irrigation kit, which helps to, irrigate farmers' crops during the dry seasons, and they're able to plant their vegetables throughout the season. It's time to face up to it. The way we have been farming and treating our land is destroying our soils and our communities. When we share traditional farming tips amongst communities, biodiversity is up, people's production is up, and children have access to nutritious food. We have got to learn to live with each other. As my mother would say, let's think about those that come after and those that have come before us. If we don't leave it for them to enjoy, there is no meaning of life. How will they survive?
ಜೀವನ ಎಂದರೆ ಏನು? ನಾನು ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಎದುರಿಸಿದ ಸವಾಲುಗಳನ್ನು ಇತರರು ಎದುರಿಸಬಾರದು ಎಂದು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಬಡ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದವಳು. ನನಗೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮದುವೆಯಾಯಿತು ಮತ್ತು ಕುಟುಂಬದವರೊಂದಿಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಯಿತು. ಬದುಕಲೇಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸಿತು. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇದ್ದುದು ಎರಡೇ ದಾರಿ, ಒಂದು ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾನು ರೇವತಿ ಪೆರ್ಡೂರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿಕಾಸ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ತರಬೇತಿಯು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸಿದೆ.
Since from the 40 years, Bharatiya Vikas Trust is working with creating entrepreneurs in the rural area. That is how Bharatiya Vikas Trust started working with bankers and also creating entrepreneurs on two things, entrepreneurship and also equally using for an energy that we can able to implement the policies at the ground root level.
ಮತ್ತು BVTಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾನು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಹೊಸ ಶುದ್ಧ ಇಂಧನ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಲಿಯಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಯಿತು. ನಾವು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್, ಇದ್ದಿಲು ಮತ್ತು ಇತರ ವಸ್ತುಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಲಂಬಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗೆ ಸೌರಶಕ್ತಿಯೇ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ಉತ್ತರ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗೆ ಇಂಗಾಲವನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಮತ್ತು ಅವಲಂಬನೆಯನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಲೈಟಿಂಗನ್ನು ಬಯಸುವಂತೆ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ಎದುರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಭಾಗದ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವರು ಹಣಕಾಸು ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಲಂಬಿತರಾಗಿರುತ್ತಾರೆಯೋ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕಳೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾವಲಂಬಿಗಳಾಗಿರಬೇಕು.
Financing for the development of the renewable energy or the green energy is very, very essential, because the policy matters happens in the center when we wanted to implement at the rural area, considering the two important things. One is the climate effect, second one improvement in the life of the rural people. So still when we wanted to work with the rural activities for creating a livelihood through solar energy, it requires support.
BVT ಹೊಸ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಹ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡುತ್ತಿದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಸಂಭವಿಸಿದ ಸಂಗತಿಗಳು ನನ್ನ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಮರುಕಳಿಸಬಾರದೆಂದು ನಾನು ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡೆ ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಆಕೆಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಉದ್ಯಮಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ವಿಷಯವೆಂದರೆ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿರುವುದು, ಮತ್ತು ಇದೇ ವಿಧಾನವು ನನ್ನಂತಹ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಸಮರ್ಥನೀಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
Mon premier contact avec la nature commence à partir de mon jeune âge. Né dans le village Tcholo Tengadale Sankourou, fils de chef coutumier, mes oncles qui faisaient de la chasse et moi je les accompagnais dans la forêt pour chasser. Et on chassait avec mes oncles, on chassait uniquement pour avoir la viande et manger. Et quand j'ai grandi, je devais faire la médecine, mais Dieu m'a orienté les choses autrement, je suis allé en biologie. J'ai commencé à vivre ce que j'ai vécu dans la forêt, les arbres, les animaux, à telle enseigne que j'ai compris à partir des cours de l'université que la nature, avec toute sa beauté, elle est vraiment un élément à protéger plutôt qu'à détruire. Je m'appelle Valentin Omasombo. Je travaille au sein de l'ONG Mbou où j'occupe la fonction de responsable de la conservation de la foresterie communautaire. La conservation, comme elle était pratiquée dans les parcs nationaux, était difficile à mettre en œuvre parce que les communautés étaient un peu élevées, mis en écart. Et lorsqu'on a commencé à travailler avec les communautés, l'idée était de protéger les bonobos parce que la nature doit être protégée au bénéfice des communautés locales. Ainsi, on développe là l'écotourisme et les activités de développement, les alternatives sont en train d'être réalisées. La construction des ponts de la rivière Mbali, beaucoup de projets sur les jardins familiaux, sur l'élevage, sur l'apiculture et différentes autres cultures. Nous avons constaté qu'avec tous ces projets, les femmes qui jouent un grand rôle dans le domaine de la conservation sont de moins en moins impliquées. Et il faut aussi des activités qui impliquent les femmes. Ce n'est pas facile, mais on est arrivé à avoir au minimum 30% des femmes qui sont dans les différents comités et les différents organes de gouvernance et de gestion de ces concessions forestières des communautés locales. Si vous excluez les communautés locales de la protection, de la conservation, là, je ne pense pas que la conservation pourra réussir.
My name's Mbou and I support local authorities up and down the country to decarbonise their heating systems. I grew up in central London in a block, traditional social housing block. What I really wanted to do is actually improve those social housing blocks, and for the last 10 or 15 years I've been working actually on those particular type of blocks I used to live in as a child to improve both the carbon emissions attributed to those blocks and also the fuel poverty element that is ever present within social housing. Kensa, who I work for, manufacture and install ground source heat pumps. This is a great solution to tackling carbon emissions attributed to heat. They are cheaper to run with no emissions from burning fossil fuels, making it better for air quality and all round it's a better option. It's a revolutionary technology, as historically heat pumps have only been implemented in individual homes. Now we can do this for a whole tower block, making a significant impact to fuel poverty, air quality and carbon emissions all at the same time. This technology can transform social housing, lowering fuel bills for people who are living in low incomes and protecting the future of our planet at the same time. For every hour of sunshine that hits the earth, we get more energy than everyone consumes in a whole year. Surely that is the solution. If the UK government said we will fund the installation of pipes into the ground, creating a network of pipes, and if they applied the same model that we use currently to install gas boilers, and we applied that model to heat pumps, all of us could have the choice of switching to low carbon heating.
It's been really good because it's consistent all the way through the bungalow. My husband's diabetic, so he doesn't need the heat, especially for his feet and his hands and things. And of course the dog's in his element.
You often have heat pumps that are manufactured many miles away in Cornwall, impacting the local economy there. We then take those heat pumps to a local area. We employ local labour and we train them up to be able to install those heat pumps. So that supports that local economy and the workforce to upskill. We then install those heat pumps in residents' homes. Those residents then have a reduction in their heating bills, which means they have more cash to spend in the local economy, which creates better economic improvement within that region. So there is a holistic solution. It can impact manufacturing, it can impact supply chain, and it can impact the lives of residents who are more vulnerable. Natural disasters linked to climate change are already happening across the globe, and we're starting to see the impacts of it locally with flash flooding and extreme temperatures. I don't want my children to grow up living in fear of whether or not their food supply is going to be affected. We can do something about this now, and we have a real once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to limit that global warming potential.
My grandmother will look up at the sky and she'll say, "It is going to rain," or "The sun will come tomorrow." She was able to predict the weather to help with her farming. My name is Dismas, and I grew up in rural Kenya with my grandmother, who is a smallholder farmer growing fresh produce. She's still working the land, but it is no longer possible to predict when the rain will come or go. Growing seasons are erratic, and produce goes to waste because it cannot be stored. Whole communities are being destroyed because the climate is changing. I knew I had to do something, but not in my wildest dream will I have ever imagined doing what I'm doing now. I started Solar Freeze to help small-scale farmers like my grandmother to store produce and increase income for their land. So I came up with a system where people can buy cooling units run by energy from the sun. This helps even the poorest people access cooling technology. We work with young people from agricultural families as well as in refugee backgrounds, especially women, to install, operate, and maintain these cooling units. Our main focus is to create a pool of competent technicians who can work on our solar technology. We can then use them across the green economy. Technical training for local women is really important, as they are often left out because it's a man's job. Most of the community is conservative, and so for them, it's odd to see a woman on a roof. It has been easy to get people involved, as there is a lot of curiosity about this new technology. By chance, I met a refugee from Kakuma refugee camp, the oldest refugee camp in East Africa, where 90% are long-term residents, and a new generation of young people are growing up. Most of the shops had no access to energy or electricity, and those that did were reliant on diesel generators. When we brought the Solar Freeze chest freezers to the refugee camp, we assumed it will be used for storing fresh produce. But once on the ground, we will see the technology was being used for medical storage, for vaccines when COVID hit, and for breastfeeding mothers to store their milk.
Because I used to pump the milk in a glass, keep it in the fridge, and someone can give the child later while I'm at work. So it gives me that free mind to work freely without thinking the child is at home, the child will be crying. So I'm comfortable whenever at work. And it really empowers me a lot, and I wish I can empower other women.
What gives me confidence is that these solutions to fight climate change like Solar Freeze are out there. They exist and are proven, and given the right backing, we can have significant impact.
He's the solar guy. Sometime when he comes, the children say the solar guy has come.
This is the right time to implement the central policies at the ground level. Can be done only when we started working for the rural people.
Our work brings women together so that they can get information and lead the response to climate change from the communities. This means demanding change from the politicians.
By working together, we can achieve better results. We are stronger. So we need government and corporation to support us and to give us the infrastructure necessary for this kind of initiative to flourish.
It's all about scaling. This will be our legacy.